Before we start building the website, you might want to know where you can go for influence in terms of the way you might want your website to look. A great way to look at examples of websites is to go to the Wix templates. If you already selected one, of course, you can commit to that, but if you didn't, you can go to the process of looking at all of the templates that Wix has. This should give you an understanding of the different layouts that you can utilize, as well as if it doesn't give you a layout, at least it can give you some inspiration. If you do want to go outside of the Wix templates, you can also utilize a website called themeforest.net. Now on themeforest.net, there are not any Wix templates, but there are other templates for other platforms such as WordPress and Joomla, things that you might not be familiar with, but you're here mostly just to get inspiration. All you have to do is click on something, and then from there you can actually take a great shot of what it looks like from a live preview perspective. This being an example. You could take a look at the layout, you could take a look at the different elements, and this should give you some inspiration in terms of how you might want to design your website. There are tons of options presented on themeforest.net, so of course please feel free to take your time as you're viewing this website. Going back to the Wix editor, I did want to start by showing you how you can edit the header as well as the footer. These two sections are the two areas that show on all pages. So as you're transitioning from, let's say, from the home page to the about page, or perhaps to the services page, the header and the footer will remain the same. The greatest thing about these sections is that if you do want some information on these sections that's very important, you can note that it will be seen on all pages. Now, as you're looking at your influences, such as on Wix templates or via the ThemeForest website, you might identify a header you want. But most commonly in the header, you'll find a menu and a logo at the bare minimum. Additional items to add in would be social media and perhaps contact information such as a phone number or an email or an address. So what we're going to do is to create the header from scratch. So I'm going to take everything away and then I'll add it back in. Starting with the logo, I'll click on the plus sign. Now, if I had a logo created, I would upload my logo. So I'd click on images and I would upload my logo, and then I can add it in right to the top. Just as a reminder, Wix is drag and drop, so of course any element that's down below here, you can drag it up here, just like I did. And then there's our logo. Now, if you don't have a logo, you can of course add in text. So I'll show you another example. You can click on the plus sign and you can add on text. And you can select right here. I'll drag it up to the header section, and then I can simply type in the name of my business or the website. So again, it could be the same thing, but except it's just text. And that will serve as the point of my logo. Now, I'll go ahead and delete that out, but just to show you, you can of course add text as needed. Now, once you've added in your logo, you can go ahead and add a menu. To get to the menus, you'll click on Add, and then you'll go right to Menu, right here. You can select between all of the menu options that they give you. Of course, you want to find the menu that's closest to the design that you want. I'll go ahead and click on the vertical menu where it's just text. And when the menu's added, it shows you all of the pages that you currently have. So right here under Pages, you have Home, About, Services, Gallery, and Contact. So what I'll do is rearrange the menu along with my logo to where everything fits. So I'm going to go ahead and drag the logo in so it's a little bit smaller, and then right there next to it, I have my menu. I also have the option of changing the height of the header, so I can make it a little bit taller, or of course I can make it a little bit smaller. And then of course, there is everything as it should be. There's the menu, and then there's our logo once again. Now, I might want to add in something additional, as I had mentioned before, which is social media. So I can click on the plus sign, and then I can click on social, and I can go ahead and click on social bar, which shows me all of the default icons, but of course if I want a different color, I can go ahead and select that. I'll click on black, and I can drag that up here. To resize it, I'll select layout, and I can go ahead and decrease the size of the icons. Once I'm happy with the size, I'll go ahead and put it in place where I want it. Now, as I had mentioned, a header is also a great place to put contact information. So, as needed, I can also add contact information. I'll click on Add. I'll click on Text. I'll click right here. And then what I'll do is rearrange this text box to put in some contact information. Some great information to put in is email. So I'll type in email. So a good one could be right here. Okay? And once I'm done entering in my email, I'll rearrange everything again. And then there I have it. To see exactly how it looks in a preview mode, I would click on Preview. Now, this is a very basic, very basic header. So of course, you might want something that's a little bit more designed, that's sleek, or maybe it's just branded the way you want. But another great way to design a header is to go ahead and add in another layer into the header. And I'll delete the email out and the social media. And what I'm going to do now is I'll click Add, and I'm going to click on Strip, and I'll click here. And what this is adding in basically a bar of color right above my logo and my menu. This is a great way to kind of brand your header and to kind of make it pop and stand out. So I just added that bar up there. I'm going to drag this down a tad bit. It does take some time as you're rearranging everything, because essentially you want everything to look good in terms of how it's sized. So once you get the right size, there you go, and you can add right back what you had before. And once again, I'm going to add in social. This time I'm going to add the gray icons, because that light gray is really going to stand out against that darker color. And then what I'm going to do is readjust the sizing. Okay, and once I'm happy with the sizing, I'll go ahead and readjust that. Once I'm happy with the sizing of this, then I can go ahead and, of course, and add in that email address again, or of course I can add a phone number. And the reason why I did this as an example is because I want to show you the versatility of what you can do in the header. So what I'll do is I'll change the color, and then of course I can go through the process of putting in, let's say, call now, and then I'll put in a number. Now, a lot of people also, as they're creating their headers, they're also putting in content that they want individuals to kind of utilize in terms of taking action. So for instance, if you wanted to add a button in this section, you could also do that. So what I'll do now is I'll click on Add, and then I'll click on Button, and I can add a button. So for instance, if you wanted somebody to shop now or something like that, you could do that. So I added the button. The color isn't right, so I'll click on Design, and I can select a button that's already created, or of course I can customize design as needed. And what I'll do is I'll resize that button so it's appropriate. And then what I'll do now is I'll change the text, and I could make it say something like go to store, or perhaps go to about us, whatever you want it to be. And then I'll click link, and I can link it to a page or any of these other options here. And then that's it. I've created my header. I go to preview mode, and this is exactly how it'll look live on the website. So once again, this is a very basic header, but you have an understanding of how you can put your header together. It's quite similar to all of the other elements that you build in your website. Once again, this is the only section that's shown on all pages. So I'll go to the About page, and the header is still the same across services, gallery, and then to contact as well. Your header is shown across all pages, and so is the footer. So what you'll want to do is scroll down at the bottom on any page, and you can make changes to your footer. So most commonly in the footer, you'll see either something about the menu if you wanted to do a duplication of the menu, or of course you could put in something about copyright or a privacy policy, essentially whatever you'd want the user to see at the bottom. A lot of times the same thing that you see at the top is at the bottom as well, so social media and contact information. Ultimately, it's up to you, but what I'll do is I'll first go to the process of designing the background. I'll click Design, and then what I'll do is I'll click Customize Design, and then I can change the color of the background. The background is what's on the sides, and the center is what's in the center. So the background is right now gray, and I can make the center transparent so the whole bar is the same color. Once I'm happy with what's there, I can then go to the process of then adding in content. So for text purposes, I'll add in some text. Let me change the color to black. And then what I'm going to do is go ahead and I'll type in some information right here. So I could put copyright 2017. I could also put email as well. And I could put in the email address down here. Now, don't be discouraged to put duplicate information. Some people say, well, it's at the top, so I don't have to have it at the bottom. But most commonly, you do see a lot of the same things on the bottom that you do see on the top. So, of course, you can go ahead and copy, which is Control-C, or you can right-click and click on Copy, and you could paste something on the top right to the bottom. So, what I did is I paste it, and then I'll go ahead and find it, which is up here, and then I'll just drag it down, and then I'll add it to the footer. As you're moving anything close to the footer, it says right here, move to footer, and you can go ahead and add it, and then there you have it. Your social media links, as well your email, and you have your copyright information as well. And that's essentially how you create your header and your footer that's shown across all pages. Now, one good feature to know is that if you do want to freeze your header, and what that means is that no matter where someone's scrolling on the website the header is seen, you can also have that option. So I'll show you an example. Right now when you go to preview, okay, you scroll all the way down and you don't see the header. But I'll go back to editor. If you wanted that header to be frozen, you could do that. You just select the header and you click on settings and you click on freeze header. Once that header is frozen, I'll go to preview, and as I'm scrolling down, notice how I can still see the header. The reason why individuals do this is so if any individual is at any point in time wants to navigate to a different page, they don't have to scroll all the way to the bottom and back up. That header is seen no matter where they are on that page. The same thing applies to all other pages. That header is still frozen. Now for best practices, as I designed the footer, you might also want to design your header, which again gives you the ability to change the background. I can select design, and I can click customize design, and I can select, of course, all the different variations right here. The background is white, the center is white, but of course I can make the background any other color that I want. Of course, I'll go ahead and I'll select yellow here, and then the center background is already white. Okay, and then as I go to preview, you can see right here the header is still frozen and it has that new great design. So that's essentially how you create your header. Of course, as you're done creating your header, you can click Save and Publish, as well as when you're done with your footer, you can of course also click Save and Publish, and then you've had the top and bottom of your website created.